It is currently 8:43 a.m. I just finished up with Ryan Ballard inside. Just did the interview and looked around the place. It's really cool. I'm a big fan of history. I'm actually gonna go check out something he was talking about down there that you'll probably see later. I hope this documentary does this place justice. I think this place is really cool with its historical factor and everything it's been for this town. And yeah, we're gonna check that out now.
So this funeral home, let's see, and you're going to see the building here in a little bit, but started out as a hotel in the 1800s, a house hotel, then turned into a funeral home. It was purchased by my grandfather in 1949, and it has been a funeral home since 1949. Change-wise, I think you see more change in the industry. We try to update some of the things within the funeral home, but at least myself and my father, always wanted to keep that vintage look. You'll walk through this funeral home and you'll see antique tiger wood, the 10-foot door frames. A lot of the traditional ways of doing things, the vintage ways of doing things back then, are still in here today. We didn't necessarily get rid of that because there's a lot of that heritage, and a lot of this stuff is done by hand. You'll see a lot of the woodwork in here that was done by hand. All the mantles, the fireplaces in there, all done by freehand, a chisel and a hammer, and they're pretty amazing.
The paintings shown represent what the house used to look like before it was actually turned into a funeral home. It was known for housing many people, including movie starlet at the time, Claudette Colbert, and many more.
So the building that we're in right now is our arrangements room, and I'm sure you'll see a little bit of that within the video. It's also called the carriage house, and the reason it's called the carriage house is because in the early 1900s, 1800s, this is where the caisson, or the funeral coach, hearse, whatever you'd like to call it, and the horses were. So this was the carriage house for the horses as well as the caisson that carried the casket. So as far as this history, I believe this was built in 1886. This building here, the big building, 1852. The interior of that as well. Originally was a house, kind of changed into a hotel years ago. There was a theater that was across the street. There was a car dealership. There was a sale barn that was down here. Back in the day, this area was pretty booming. So, but as far as the history of this building, it was built in 1852. Like I said, started out as a house, kind of turned into a hotel, I believe. But yeah, so from a standpoint of anything and everything in here, there's 7 fireplaces. That's what used to heat this entire building. The entire building itself is solid brick, so it's a solid building, but it's seen its fair share.
The picture shown is what I was talking about earlier. Ryan pointed this out to me after our interview, and I thought I would go check it out, because apparently some of the concrete is still there.
Very, very snowy, very, very cold morning. Look at this. So this, I'm pretty sure, it's either this one or that one over there. The one he was talking about where you went underneath the bridge here. This is that hill. You could actually go underneath. That's cool. But as you can see, it's very cold. I'm gonna go get in my car now.
The building was bought out in 1949 by Ryan's grandfather, George Ballard, and it's been thriving ever since.
I think here's the thing, with a father and son relationship, there's always that give and take. I was fired 3 different times by my father, but the next day within a family business, you still show up, you come back, do what you're supposed to do. We had a dynamic. He was the one with a lot of big ideas and really reached for the stars in a lot of ways, and I tried to rein him in a little bit at times. So I enjoyed it. The people in this community, at least from what I could tell, really cared about him, and I think it's because he cared about so many other people and so many other families. Doing what we do, this is a service type of industry, and it's a challenging art, and this is an art when it comes to funeral service. So he was able to, in so many words, corner both those aspects, and he enjoyed it, and I think people liked him for that. But And I miss it. I really do. I miss my dad terribly, but he definitely provided the example for me as to how to do this type of career, because it's not easy, and counseled me a lot. There's a lot of conversations I wish, looking back now, I wish I would have, in so many words, asked a lot of questions I wish I would have asked, and maybe had a little bit more of his point of view. So, but I loved it. I did. We had our days like anybody else, but I miss it. I miss it every day. So.
Ballard & Sons is still a place that will forever be in Middletown, Indiana's history, and the Ballard family has done so much for the town. As we reflect on these final moments, I just want to say thank you to Ballard & Sons and the Ballard family. As someone who has sadly had to go to a funeral, I was lucky to at least have it here in such a great environment that really made everyone, myself included, feel comfortable. And I can guarantee that they will keep giving back to the community for years to come.